your host, Christene Marie. I'm feeling excited to be with you all here. I just got kind of a fresh sense of energy. I actually I flew into Chicago for 24 hours. Flew in yesterday, attended an event actually for the largest cleaning and janitorial association, I think in the world, at least here in the US, but I do believe it's international. And so it was a great event. Was there for 24 hours in Chicago, flew back this evening, had a few delays, landed, and I still have some work to do. So it's quite late that I'm going live with you, but I wanted to make sure that I did. I've been going live every single day since June 23rd, 2025. And so yes, part of me is like I need to keep up my streak, but there's something too about the fact that there's just been a commitment to myself where I'm doing it for me in so many ways. And y'all, when we have goals, that we're doing them because we believe in them and because of our own word to ourselves versus the vanity metric of what other people will say or think or how they'll respond. That why is so much more compelling than anything anyone else could ever want from us or expect from us. Because when we believe it, when we're getting our heart, mind, body, soul, spirit involved, there's so much meaning contributing to every single action we take. I just saw Dub Styles. It's good to see you. He says you're up late. I know. I actually was sitting here on the couch working 20 minutes ago and fell asleep. So I'm here now and I'm very happy to be here. But I'm glad to see your name. It's been a little while since I've seen you. So we're going to be reading through our daily Course in Miracles, albeit it's ideal to read it in the early morning, but it's better late than never. So we started reading through this lesson series at the beginning of the year, January 1st. And it's really dedicated to reminding ourselves of what is more true than our programming, than our past patterns that were taught and learned and that we inherited sometimes. Sometimes we just watched it modeled for us. And so this time every single day, whether it's morning or night, ideally morning, but this time every single day is really our time to reorient ourselves. I like to think of it as considering, okay, where is my compass pointing? Is it navigating north? Or is it broken? Is it navigating east or west? And am I looking to everyone around me to give me meaning, to define my worth, and to give me purpose to my day? And so the more we take time every single day to reorient our compass pointing north, to remind ourselves of who we were created to be in the first place, to remind ourselves of our why. This is why I'm showing up. This is why I'm going to stay true to my word. This is why I'm going to keep doing something maybe even that's uncomfortable or hard, because I know and have a better goal, a better outcome than even where I am here today. So the vision of the future is sometimes the very thing that can keep us going here in the present moment when it's challenging. It's like somebody said this one time. It's like you want to have a great body and be in great shape, but you really want the chocolate cake. And it's like, well, which is going to win? And so the more we have a great future vision and the more crystal clear that is, especially if it has to do with making an impact, if it has to do with fulfilling on something that you really feel called to, well, now you're going to be showing up in a very different way and with much more consistency because you're passionate and your fire's burning within you. I read this quote one time years ago and I actually loved it so much I put it on my resume. It said, "There is nothing so beautiful as someone's soul set on fire." And so in so many ways, sometimes it's like a reminding of ourselves of what is the thing that I love? What is the thing that sets my soul on fire? And am I pursuing that? Am I actually lit up during the day? Am I lit up in the way that I live my life? And so we're going to go ahead and just read through the lesson for today. This is lesson 160. Um, it is, I am at home. Fear is the stranger here. A theoretical foundation, such as the text provides, it's necessary as a framework to make the exercises in this workbook meaningful. Yet it is doing the exercises that will make the goal of the course possible. An untrained mind can accomplish nothing. It is the purpose of this workbook to train your mind to think along the lines the text sets forth. The exercises are very simple. They do not require a great deal of effort. And it does not matter where you do them. They need no preparation. The training period is 1 year. The exercises are numbered from 1 to 365. I feel like I'm reading the introduction to something, not the actual today's lesson. Is this really today's lesson? One moment. ACIM lesson 160. It felt like the introduction to the entire workbook. So let me just go find that. Got it. Okay. I was like, that's weird. All right. Okay. Lesson 160. We're going to do this all over again. Matt says, good chocolate cake is really great. I'm with you. What's the movie? Oh my gosh. There's this film that my sisters and I used to watch growing up where the guy would joke that he was on a chocolate cake diet. So I always, whenever I hear chocolate cake, that's what I think of. All right, lesson 160. Here we go. I am at home. Fear is the stranger here. Fear is a stranger to the ways of love. Identify with fear, and you will be a stranger to yourself, and thus you are unknown to you. What is yourself remains an alien to the part of you which thinks it is real but different from yourself. Who could be sane in such a circumstance? Who but a madman could believe he is what he is not, and judge against himself? There is a stranger in our midst who comes from an idea so foreign to the truth he speaks a different language, looks upon a world truth does not understand and does not know, and understands what truth regards as senseless. Stranger yet, he does not recognize to whom he belongs, and yet maintains his home belongs to him, while he is alien now who is at home. And yet, how easy it would be to say, this is my home, here I belong, and will not leave because a madman says I must. What reason is there for not saying this? What could the reason be except that you had asked this stranger in to take your place and let you be a stranger to yourself? No one would let himself be disposed so needlessly unless he thought that there were another home more suited to his tastes. Who is the stranger? Is it fear, or you who are unsuited to the home which God provided for his son? Is fear his own, created in his likeness? Is it fear that love completes and is completed by? There is no home can shelter love and fear. They cannot coexist. If you are real, then fear must be an illusion. And if fear is real, then you do not exist at all. How simply then the question is resolved. Who fears has but denied himself and said, I am the stranger here. And so I leave my home to one more like me than myself, and give him all I thought belonged to me. Now is he exiled of necessity, not knowing who he is, uncertain of all things but this, that he is not himself, and that his home has been denied to him. What does he search for now? What can he find? A stranger to himself can find no home wherever he may look, for he has made return impossible. His way is lost, except a miracle will search him out and show him that he is no stranger now. The miracle will come, for in his home his self remains. It asked no stranger in, and took no alien thought to be itself. And it will call its own unto itself in recognition of what is its own. Who is the stranger? Is he not the one yourself calls to? You are unable now to recognize this stranger in your midst, for you have given him your rightful place. Yet is yourself as certain of its own as God is of his Son. He cannot be confused about creation. He is sure of what belongs to him. No stranger can be interposed between his knowledge and his Son's reality. He does not know of strangers. He is certain of his Son. God's certainty suffices. Whom he knows to be his Son belongs where he has set his Son forever. He has answered you who ask, who is the stranger? Hear his voice assure you, quietly and sure, that you are not a stranger to your Father, nor is your Creator stranger made to you. Whom God has joined forever remains one, at home with him, no stranger to himself. Today we offer thanks that Christ has come to search the world for what belongs to him. His vision sees no strangers, but he beholds his own and joyously unites with them. They see him as a stranger, for they do not recognize themselves. Yet as they give him welcome, they remember. And he leads them gently home again, where they belong. Not one does Christ forget, not one he fails to give you to remember, that your home may be complete and perfect as it was established. He has not forgotten you, but you will not remember him until you look on all that he does. Who denies his brother is denying him. Who denies his brother is denying him, and thus refusing to accept the gift of sight by which his self is clearly recognized, his home remembered, and salvation come. There's one line here that I want to go back to that was so powerful. Oh, man. Y'all, do we know what's ours, what's rightfully ours? Do we know what's like our inheritance? My dad at one point, I love my parents. For those of you who are normal and friends of the Knowing Show, I'm so grateful for my parents, and I really, really, truly love them. And one thing my mom did, I actually think my dad did this first, and then my mom kind of followed suit. My dad did this years ago. Was he printed out like a lamination of promises of God to us that effectively we claim. And it's like, okay, God, I'm going to hold you to your word. It's like a little kid going to their parents and saying, but you promised, you said you would do this. And actually, my darling just has the most beautiful relationship with his boys where he says, I'm not going to break my word to them. And so if I promise something, I have to do it. And so he's very careful to not make promises that he can't keep. And the same goes with us and God, because the reality is that which God says is ours is ours. And if we don't have it yet, honestly, I have found time and time and time again that if we don't have the very thing which we've been promised, it's probably because we're not accepting it, we're not looking for it, we're not seeking it, we're not pursuing it, we're not receiving it. And so if we're lacking in our lives, if we're lacking something that's good and that's frankly something that God has promised to those who love God, those who are willing to do the work and pursue him and want God's will in their lives, if we are willing to look through the lens of God's lens, the way that he looks at the world, he has said effectively, if you are willing to walk in this way, then I've got all these promises for you. And so if we're lacking good things in our life, if we're really struggling in certain ways, we need to return to what those promises are. That's not some prosperity thing that it's all going to go perfectly for you. This is like the inner place, the inner peace, the joy, the love that comes, the joy, the love and joy and peace that exchanges fear. Because what we're talking about here, this lesson is predicated on the fact that fear is not of our inheritance. So if we're experiencing fear and we're operating from that modus operandi, then we're probably not walking in the fullness of what is ours, our inheritance. And so if we are going to act as children, as sons and daughters, as royalty, and walk in the fullness of our identity, we talk about identity here on the show as kind of two parts. Identity A, let's say, is the part of us that is universal. It's the part that God says is we are loved, we are worthy, we are known, we belong. There is nothing we can do that would separate us from the love of God. That identity gives us all of the confidence in the world to show up and take ownership over then the promises of God that are for every single person, should we so choose. And then identity B is, man, what makes you so different than every other person? Why are you here? What's your mission? You are so needed in this world. And so it's the integration of these two very, very different, seemingly opposite identities that form into who you are and who I am, that both of them hold kind of like, okay, if I'm going to walk in this, the byproduct of that is that I get, if this then that. It's kind of like the logical deduction and logical reasoning. If you are going to walk in the fullness of your identity, then you get access to these promises of God. And so, what are those promises? And a lot of them surround the inner state, the inner well being of our soul. And it's peace, it's love, it's joy, it's kindness, it's the ability to control ourselves. It's these promises that are like, hey, we've got access to this. So if I am going to believe that this part of my identity is true, then I should see the byproduct of living accordingly, which are going to be, it's, that concept, you shall know a tree by its fruit. So the fruit that's manifesting in our lives is going to be an indicator of whether we're walking in that identity or not. And so if we're living in anxiety and living in fear and not able to really get settled and be at peace, then we're probably not walking in the fullness of that identity and the manifestation of the promise that was given to us. And so really there comes this aspect of, do we even know what those promises are? And do we even know what that identity is? And so, we're kind of at this place in our culture where we're in this identity crisis at a really core way, where we've outsourced all of our worth and we've outsourced who we are to, we talked about this at the beginning of the show, like a broken compass. We're looking to the right and to the left, and we're looking for someone and something to give us meaning rather than going to the source. Why were we created in the first place? Why were we here? Why are we here? And what is going to give our lives meaning and something sacred to live for? And we talked about this earlier too, to have our soul set on fire. And our soul will set on fire when we know who we are and we know why we are. Why are we here? And so the more we actually are allowing space and the quiet to sit with those questions, the more we'll actually come to know the integrity and truth of what's in there. The Latin root of intuition is intuere, which means to be taught from within. And there's something about that I just absolutely love, that we actually need to do less searching out there, less reading books, less consuming, so that we can become creators. And the less we consume, the more we've got space to become creators of our lives. I left a message for my darling this morning, actually, and I said, for my birthday, it's next month, and I just said, for my birthday, I just want to take 3 full days and just revisit. I wrote my eulogy when I was 30. I said, I want to revisit my eulogy. I want to revisit my dreams, like my big, crazy, audacious dreams. I want to go back to just giving myself an environment like when I was a kid and I dreamed really big. And I want to start dreaming like that again. I think about Martin Luther King Jr. and even somebody like Henry Ford, who had the ability to see something that was not there yet. And because of their ingenuity and ability to dream, they accessed something so in the future, but were so clear on what they wanted the world to become, a product to be invented, and they were able to make real change in the present day because of their future dream. And so I think every single one of us, y'all, deserve the opportunity to do that, and it's up to us to create that opportunity. No one's going to do that for us. It is entirely our responsibility what our environment is like. And yes, it's so much easier to point the finger and play the blame game. But the reality is that it's time for us to take back our seat in the driver's, at the steering wheel in the driver's seat. And once we do, we realize how much power is really ours to change our environment. The environment that we live in right now, just like how we kind of blame our upbringing and our childhood for why we turned out the way that we did. Well, we can blame our environment today for why we're turning out the way we are. Every single day, we have the decision about what environment am I going to exist in? Am I going to create an environment that fosters habits and fosters an ability to get up in the morning? Even just this morning, I was in Chicago for 24 hours attending an event, and I had dark blinds covering the window. And it was so hard to wake up this morning. I was like, what is going on? And then I realized, I was like, oh, I didn't have the natural light in. So if I want to be somebody who's waking up early, because when I look at all the successful people in the world, top habits among those people is that they can wake up in the morning. They can get out of bed. And so that's a goal for me, is to be able to continue to get up every single day early, to invest in me, because that's another one of those top habits, is that they journal, they read, they actually take time to know what's going on inside of them. They have a developed internal intelligence. Yeah, we talk about this a lot on the Knowing Show. What is your internal intelligence? Your human intelligence, and it's intellectual intelligence, emotional intelligence. It's the physical intelligence. Our body keeps the score and remembers experiences that we've been through, and spiritual intelligence. So we've got these core inner intelligences that until we really take time to cultivate them, man, they're going to be really kind of vying for a turn at the wheel, let's say. I really love that concept because until we recognize how the past shows up in the present, and until we regain our own ability to dream by not consuming so much and allowing space and time to be able to start becoming creators, now we can start creating those dreams. Really, it blows my mind when I think of Henry Ford. I'm like, how in the world did he think of inventing a car, the automobile? It what? It's so cool. And we have the ability to create something, maybe not to that colossal, let's say, but something still. Every single one of us has access to a dream inside of us that can make an impact in our family, in our community, in our business, in the world. And so it's really a matter of, am I led by fear, or am I led by love and peace and that kind of inner state where I'm actually free to dream in the first place because the past isn't keeping me in bondage anymore. I'm free. I'm liberated. I can now dream for the future unadulterated and uncorrupted by the past. And once we break free in that regard, it's so powerful. I just saw Hacker says, be kindly affectionate to one another with brotherly love. Oh, I love that. In honor, giving preference to one another. That's so beautiful. Wyatt, it's good to see you. Just jumping here in the chat. Biscuit, good morning. Good to see you. William, hello. Peter, thanks for joining. Keep flipping. Um, hmm. Peter, I'm sorry for, you know what I realize so often with trolls, a lot of times there's just a lot of hurt there. There's a lot of hurt there, and whenever I get angry, that's a opportunity for me to look in the mirror and say, okay, what is in me that's being triggered by that? And that anger reveals so much to me. It's maybe revealing a value that I hold. Maybe it's revealing something in me that has yet to be healed, and therefore it holds power over me. This is why we have to deal with the past, because us getting triggered about something very rarely has anything to do with the present moment, like the moment at hand, whatever somebody did or said. Very rarely is it tied to that. So, y'all, thank you so much for joining. I am going to go to sleep. I'm very excited. I have one more email to send out, and then I'll go to sleep. And then I will schedule our show for tomorrow. It might end up being a little bit later. I've got a full day, so I got to go ahead and finish up a couple of things. But I will see you tomorrow. I'll go ahead and schedule our show.